Howie the Butcher back. We're going to start a new segment. I'm going to call it Cheap Cuts. This is going to save you a lot of money, and you're going to think I'm a real hero. Okay, so you're not going to just save pennies, you're going to save dollars with this idea. Okay, whole boneless pork loin. This is about 9.5 pounds, is less than $14. I mean, and you're going to get 6 to 10 meals out of it. Try that with any beef cut. You know, I love beef, don't get me wrong. Alright, so we'll get started here. I'll show you how many different cuts we can do with this thing. Okay, now comes the fun part, cutting it. There's really not much to it. You want a fairly good knife. These are fairly tender. It doesn't have to be like a razor, but you want a nice sharp knife. We're first going to take it out of the bag. I've set up my own little area here. Now if you don't have that much space, that's okay. You don't necessarily need it. Remember, they'll cut it for you at the store too, however you want it. But this gives you many ideas to what to ask for. Now first off, I'm going to cut off a good chunk of it, and I'm going to roast it on the grill on the indirect heat, and we'll do a video on that later on. Okay, so now we're going to start off with the different cuts that you can get out of this. We're going to go with a couple thick cuts, about 1 inch thick. These are great grilled. They're wonderful. Pork is one of my favorite proteins, but mainly the price. Again, I'm a tightwad, everyone knows that. So now we're going to do some regular chops. Now this is 2 is all my wife and I will eat, so that's for me all I'm going to cut of those right now. I'm just giving you an example of all the different cuts. Now for a regular cut pork chop, I'm going to go 1/2 to 3/4. And I'm going to do 3 of those. That's about what we use for a meal. Now you can pan fry these, bread them, bake them, shake and bake them. You can also make pork Swiss steak. Is awesome. It's really good to use for that. All right, so now we're going to do some thin cut chops. These are going to be 1/8 to 1/4. I'm going to cut about 4 of these because they're don't weigh as much. They're smaller, obviously. Now I'm going to do 5, and I'll explain why. Most of these loins don't even need trim. They've got a little bit of fat, little cover, which is good. You want some. Now, these can be used as a breakfast chop if you like. I prefer bacon for breakfast, but a lot of people like them, and that's great. So we're going to take one step further, and we're going to simply cut it in little strips. Okay? So now that you can make stir fry or pork stroganoff. It's great. Again, I've switched to a lot of chicken and pork protein because of the cost of beef. I'm a very budget-minded person, which you probably know by now. So anyway, pork stir fry or stroganoff. Turns out great. I'm going to try and shoot a video with my wife doing the stroganoff because I don't have a clue on that one. Alright, now let's use our smaller knife. I'm going to show you how to cut pockets in these. Alright, now I'm going to cut a couple with pockets in it, which these are great stuff. Just the box stuffing. I prefer the chicken flavored one, and you stuff it and bake them an hour. You got a tremendous meal. I'm going to do 2 of them because that's what we do for a meal. And there you have it. Okay, so the rest of it, I think I'm going to cut some more regular cut chops. Well, we'll do 2 more thick cuts, and I'll show you what to do with the end. Now, this is the ribeye end of the loin. This is the ribeye on the pork. It's awesome. This is actually the best cut on the whole loin, I think. Alright, so we're going on to finish out this rib end. I'm going to go about 1.25 inches. Okay, now if you want to make some boneless ribs, you simply cut them 1.25 inches and then cut them in half again. You've got beautiful little boneless pork loins, ribs. All right, now I prefer something different. So we're going to cut it again. We're going to make this for chop suey. And just make it in little dices. You could actually use it for stew meat also, like you would for beef stew. So, there we have it. This we're going to roast whole. You've got your thick chops, your regular cut, your butterfly or your pocket cut for stuffing, and a couple more thick cut. Stir fry, chop suey over here. Okay, we're going to do summary here and we'll go over it one more time. So in summary, here's what we ended up with. Okay, potentially 7 different meals, and for the 2 of us, I realize with a family you won't get that much out of it, but here's all the different ideas again. Whole boneless roast pork loin. You can also fillet it open and stuff it with many different things, regular stuffing, a lot of different things. Thick cut grilled, they're awesome. The pocket to stuff them with butterfly, stroganoff or stir fry, and chop suey, pork stew. Just so much you can do with this, folks. It just saves you a lot of money. Okay, I'll be back and show you how we package it and freeze it. Now we're going to package it. I don't have a vac packer, which these freezer bags, I prefer the zipper quart freezer bags. Is what they work pretty well. You can get 2 to 4 months of freezer life out of them. You can get more than that if you use a vac packer, probably up to 6 months, as long as it doesn't lose its vacuum. Air is the enemy in the freezer. So I simply just going to start off packaging my chop suey, pork stew, whatever you want to call it. Use it for a lot of different things. Alright, now when I zip it, I try and suck as much air out of it as I can. And there you go. So I've also dated it, so we don't keep it in our freezer too long, and put on what it is. So once it's frozen, you can tell what it is. One last thing, don't buy too much at a time. It's only a bargain if you use it. If you throw it away, it's not a bargain. So just keep that in mind. Hopefully you'll find this helpful. Again, if you don't want to do this, they'll do it at the store for you. I like to do my stuff myself, so that's just who I am. Alright, well, I hope you've enjoyed this, got some great ideas out of it. Until next time, Howie the Butcher. If you don't know meat, know your meat man.